So in this video, we're going to be working on this new folder design, and specifically for this design, we're going to be working on the new palette. And so it's going to be very similar to a previous palette I worked on. I'm going to grab one real quick. It's going to be very similar to the voltaic palette, which, as you can see, has these cutouts to hold material, and then has a removable sub palette to grab the stock from the top. Basically, your piece of stock goes on like this with tapped holes in it, and it screws into that palette. It's the best way to do what I need to do for this, so I'm going to show you how we're going to use this palette. Okay, so basically how this palette's going to work is this is going to be my stock for the handles. This is titanium stock, and this stock is oversized right now, quite a bit, as you can see. But that's going to go right here, and another one's going to go right here. And then these are going to go in pockets with clamps holding these on, and that's how these are going to get machined. And then to do the other side of these, what we're going to have is we're going to have a secondary sub palette here, where these are going to go, you're going to flip these over with tapped holes, and they're going to go on this face. So basically on op 1, we machine, let's take this part. Okay, so for op 1 over here, we're going to machine this side of it, and we're going to machine in all these, and there's not all the features in this 3D printed version, but there's going to be holes to be tapped and stuff like that. And we're going to flip it over, and we're going to do this top face. So it should be pretty simple. Let's get started on the palette. And okay, so I moved from X0, Y0, which is right over this knob, and I threw in my coaxial indicator, which is basically a fancy way of saying center over this. And we're going to move down over center, and you're going to see it put some load on that dial. And then I'm going to spin this, and we're going to want to see it. Okay, so it's within one of those, which is good enough for what I'm doing. And each of those is half a thou. So it's within half a thou of indicated properly. So that's good enough for what I'm doing. Okay, so now that that's indicated properly, I'm going to go ahead and throw in the palette, and then we're going to probe at the top, and then we get to start machining. So I'm going to quickly throw in my pretty new palette. So yeah, I'll probably just cut that. That's a lot of mumbo jumbo that nobody's gonna understand. Okay. Now that the jargon's done, we can actually start machining. Okay, so as you can see, these pallets don't start off particularly flat, and so what we have to do is we have to take off a bit more material, and I think some of those inserts are a little dull because there's some really sharp edges along that. So yeah, I'll actually probably reprogram that with a bigger face mill, and then take down, I'll probably just measure this corner here, and then take it down to the rest of it. Okay, just finished machining the palette. or at least the first part of the pallet, and I did a quick test fit with titanium, and that's about perfect. There should be a couple thou of extra room in there, and you can just hear it wiggle and slides in and out easily and has barely any movement. So when I do put the clamp in there, this will clamp nice and tightly. Like, this is perfect. Yeah, and everything else machined super well. It looks fantastic. You know, I don't like the fog buster. You know, it's called fog buster, but this entire room is filled with mist. So either I'm using it wrong or it is not as advertised, and it still makes a very misty mess of coolant, which is not good to breathe. So probably not going to use it again unless I absolutely have to. For filming, it worked great though. So yeah. Okay, so let's throw a piece of material in. So here's the material. It's going to go in like this, and all the extra is going to stick out on this end. And then there it is. And this one's not clamping very hard because it's messed up. But the other one should just repeat nice and easily on this side. Piece of material. Throw it in like that. And take it down. And then I think the torque setting on this is a little low, so I'll hand tighten these and then get that torque setting to spec. I just didn't want to strip these out with a super heavy setting to start with, but that worked great. So I'm going to put a spacer in there and fix that torque setting, and then I'm going to run the op one on the pallets because I'm impatient, and then I'll run the rest of the pallet and stuff like that later. So those will probably be 2 different videos, so I'm going to start this one. Okay, so here they are out of the pallet, and these look really good. I'm super happy with how these turned out. Yeah, you can see those. Okay, so now it's time to run this top pallet, and what I'm going to do is I just have this double side taped onto here, which holds that pretty stiffly, and then I'm going to just very carefully deck the top of this with a 1/4 inch end mill, and then just do some really low pressure operations to get the holes where I need to be, and then I'll flip it over and do the other side clamped to this pallet. Okay, let's go ahead and actually start this. Looking pretty good. Yeah, I like that. That looks really good. Okay, low tool pressure seems to have worked pretty well. There's a tiny lip right here, but that doesn't particularly matter. Cool. Next step. Yeah, that's going pretty well. I don't want to use too much of this. I don't want to get that wet and then have to lose tension. Okay, now it's time to start the boring of the holes. And this one I'm just going to use there. Oh, it's always nerve-wracking doing that. Okay, come on. So basically the next step is to basically pull this off here, drill some offsets for the 1/4 holes on the other side of this pallet, and so we can put those screws in and then face everything. And so let's get started with that process. So now these holes go all the way through, and then that should be recessed properly. This is the top, as I marked it the most dull Sharpie I could find. And so basically this is ready to go on the pallet and get machined. Cool. Okay, here is the pallet all put together. You can see this texture is a little different because I stoned that to make sure everything was nice and flat. The pins are in here and here. You just can't really see them. And then I got 2 screws in here. So this is solid. And I just need to machine this top face and get all those details in here. So we're gonna start that. Okay, got this in the mill and it's time to start running it. So let's go ahead and start that. Okay, now you can see it. Everything's a giant mess. Carry stuff away, but that looks really bad because of the tool I used. It was a roughing end mill, so all these floor finishes, despite being very smooth, they look really bad, and all these corners are unchamfered. So I'm gonna clean this up and clean these little things up and show you the finished result. Okay, so here's the pallet. I cleaned this up a little bit, got those burrs off, and yeah, I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with it. Gonna run the second op on these, so they're gonna be separate videos, I think, but I ran the first op, and then these are basically gonna go on here, like that, and those holes are gonna line them up so they can't move. And then these have screw holes which go all the way through, and so I'll put screws in to hold them down, and then I can do all the top facing and stuff like that. And these are gonna go just like this. And so that's great. And then I have a ton of room right here, and I might actually fixture my liner locks in there, which is the piece that's gonna go in here. It's gonna be a hardened steel piece to interact with the blade. And so I might actually fixture those in here. I don't have that designed, but there's plenty of room for them. So I might do that there and save an extra pallet. Anyways, that's it for this. Yeah.